Hello and welcome to domytriesthis. I hope you brought your cuppa. If this coffee cup and this look familiar to you, well, they should. They are from the first in my Bright Lady series that I'm hoping to be doing. I plan to be doing. Trying to help older ladies like me with bright colors in their makeup. And I am filming these right after that to go up after con. This is before con. These are going to go up after con to give me some time off that week to recover from con. Trust me, going to need it. And yeah, so the tea is the same. It's the Wild Leaf Smart Tea, which tastes delicious, even cold. Love a tea that can be delicious both hot and cold. Love it. Very good tea. The only thing I changed was the earrings because my big floofy hair demands big earrings. And besides, I like the big chandeliers. So anyway, moving right along. There are things going on outside, so you might hear some shouting in the background. It is later in the day, so all the kids are home from school and things will be going on for that. So I apologize if there's too much noise. We have my cats in the kitchen scratching and jingling their bells, so you're going to be hearing a lot of background noise. Hopefully it won't be too distracting. Today we are going to go through my palettes, and for this particular video I'm going through my larger palettes. I am not doing this to brag. Basically, several ladies in my Ipsy Glam Bag group on Facebook indicated an interest in seeing all the palettes I own. So that's what this is all about. This is basically showing some ladies something that they wanted to see. If you're not interested, you know what, that's fine, and I understand, because seriously, I understand. I watch some people and occasionally get eyeshadow palette envy. If there's anything that I will jump on and want, it will be eyeshadow palettes. You can catch me with the fancy packaging and the pretty colors and all that stuff. So yeah, that's part of the reason why I have a problem right now with eyeshadow palettes. I'm looking at my stuff and it's like, yeah. Hi, my name is Domi. I'm addicted to eyeshadow palettes. And I love it. I have learned, well, first thing to mention is through this series, you're going to notice that a lot of the palettes that are shown in the cover photo for the channel are not here. I tend to declutter rather organically, so you will not find decluttering videos on here. It's not something I'm actually interested in doing. A lot of palettes get tested and used and shown on the channel, and then they're either given to Project Beauty Share or one of my daughters because, yeah, I tested and used it, but I wasn't interested in it. Others are I finally got rid of because I began to realize that I'm just not a neutrals kind of girl. I do have a few neutral palettes, as you'll see, and most of my colorful palettes have some neutrals in them. I don't need to own a whole bunch of neutral palettes. I just so I ended up getting rid of a lot of them, even if I liked the packaging, just because they were full of neutrals. And again, that was because I just knew I wasn't going to use them, and I'd rather give them to people who would use them than to have them sit here, go old, and eventually have to be tossed out. I've already spent the money. Might as well give them to someone who's going to give them some love instead of tossing them in the trash. So yeah, there will be a lot of palettes that are in that cover shot that are not shown here, and I have a whole bunch of new ones. So maybe one of these days I should take a new cover shot photo. We'll see. That cover shot photo took a little work, so we'll see. I do have a palette on the way that isn't here yet. I had ordered the Dragon Child by Makeup Monsters, and the first time I ordered it, we had a bill come in for twice the amount that it was supposed to be, and I had to cancel the order so we could pay rent. Rent comes first, always. Then this past week, my husband brought me $40 and said, get your palette, because he knows I love dragons. It doesn't even matter if the colors work or not for me. I love dragons. I still have my Dragon Heart highlighter and I never use it because it's dragons. So That's not here yet. I hope to have that here very soon. They are processing that order at this point. It probably won't be here till after con. So we're just going to go ahead and get through this. Just know that I have one more palette on the way. The other thing is, we've got 2 of these that are going to be on the shorter end and one that's going to be on the longer end. Well, maybe I'm looking at this. The last one should be really, really short, but we'll see. I have split it up into 3 because there are so many palettes. The other thing is that one of the things that I learned about buying palettes, like I said, I love palettes. I love them. Eyeshadow palettes in particular. And if there's any makeup item that I'm going to dive for, it's going to be eyeshadow palettes. But I am learning to be a bit more judicious in the palettes that I buy. There are a lot of palettes that I've been interested in the past because of 1 or 2 colors. So I took the advice of, I believe it was Lacey of Spooky Lips, and I started covering up the colors that I was interested in and looking at the rest of the palette. If the rest of the palette does not interest me, I don't buy it. And the thing is, more than likely, I have the colors that I'm going, ooh, somewhere in my mess. So probably don't need those. The ones that catch me with the packaging, again, I have to be very judicious and just sort of look at those colors and go, well, there's like a ton of browns in there, and I don't like browns that much. Pretty packaging, palette is not for me. So I'm learning to do those things to spend a little less, which is the thing we need to do in this household at this point. Yeah, I think that's, and I've also noticed that in recent months, there isn't a whole lot new that is catching my attention. There are a couple of things older that I want. There's a few things on Hush that I still want. There's I still want the Sephora editorial, even though I have colorful palettes. I really want that palette. There's a couple more Violet Voss palettes that I really want, but they can wait. And, you know, likely one day I will get them. We'll see. So I'm learning to prioritize my palettes a little bit too, I guess. And a lot of times I will get the ones that are less expensive versus the one that are more expensive. Like the Sephora collection one is $68. I still want it, but I'm more than likely going to go, oh, I actually have the $12 for this one on Hush, so I will buy that and hold off on the $68 one. So I'm learning a lot about, over the last few months, particularly since I started the channel actually, about what I like, what will work, what I will use, and how to make sure I'm not just impulse buying. I'm trying to think more thoughtfully about the palettes that I'm purchasing. So let's get moving because we're already almost 10 minutes into this video and I've got a stack in front of me. So I'm planning to do this from sort of the medium to large, the mediums, and then the mediums to small. And the reason I have them medium to large and medium to small is some of them have larger packaging or whatever, but not as many colors. Some of them have smaller packaging and a lot of colors. So I had to try to figure out how to balance that all out to do this. And most of the larger ones either have larger packaging or have a lot of colors in them, say more than 12. Because a lot of the color pops I put into the smaller set, and a lot of them have more than 12 or have around 12 or so, but they're smaller packaging. So that's kind of what I try to go for. My newest one is the Cheers to the Beauty from Colored Rain. This was on my their brand was on my want to try for this year. This was like my 6th or 7th one. I have started using it a little bit. I do love the pigmentation for the most part. The only color I've had trouble with is this one. I've swatched it. I'm not going to swatch it today, but when I swatched it on one hand. A little while later, I noticed it had gotten on my other arm, and then when I went to bed that night, I don't even know how it got all over my legs, but it was on my legs and it got in my sheets, and So it is the only one in there. I will swatch a couple of these. I really love this blue. This is Opulence. This is a beautiful blue. I love this color. This one, Rosé. This is a beautiful gold. This green, which is called Grandeur. So these are gorgeous colors. You'll notice they're all shimmers, but beautiful pigmentation. They worked beautifully on my lids. I really enjoy the palette, other than the silver. So the silver it's a beautiful silver, but yeah, it's kind of annoying in the amount of fallout that I got from it. But that's the only problem with it. I haven't played around with the mattes too much. I'm not very much of a matte girl, and that's the other thing I look for in palettes. If it's primarily or all mattes, I try not to. I convince myself not to buy it because I probably won't use that much of it. For a long time, early in my career, early in my makeup journey, I started off with some BH Cosmetics palettes. Now, what I found with them is most of their palettes were a miss for me. They had horrible pigmentation. They just didn't work. I had some palettes that I purchased. They came broken. I sent them pictures. The new ones came broken too. I eventually stopped buying from BH. There are some lipsticks I will buy from them. There are some blushes I will buy from them. But I generally don't buy their palettes. I do still have my Galaxy Chick. This is a baked formula, which is one of the reasons I kept it. It has some gorgeous colors. I haven't used it very much. But because it's baked, the pigmentation tends to be a little bit better than on their other ones, but you can see the difference. You can see the difference. It tends to be more powdery, but the coloration can be very, very good. Again, it's not one I use very often, but I keep it for when I want something with a little bit of high shine. And it covers most of the colors. I have an orange, I have the reds, I love these maroons, it has purples, blue, greens, so it colors most of the colors that I would use on the the middle of my lid to kind of brighten things up. So it's a good palette for me to hang on to. So another one of my newer palettes is the Flamingo palette. I love this palette. I haven't managed to play with all the colors yet. Again, primarily have played with shimmers, and even not all of the shimmers. There's a lot of mattes in here, but I love this color story. There have been people who have indicated that they've had trouble with it. I haven't really. One of the test colors that I use when I'm getting a bright color is anything that's yellow, because yellows tend to disappear on my skin. Rosés, these lighter colors, I will usually use those as testers when I'm picking up a palette, and if it will show up on my skin, I'm happy, because like I said, these colors, they're a bit light, yes. I don't have any primer on my hand. I actually have better results wearing these than swatching these. I'll tell you that right now. The purple here does tend to disappear into my skin tone when on my eye, but this yellow is gorgeous, and I use this as a topper for other yellows to bring them out sometimes. So I haven't had, like I said, some people have said that they've had issues with this, that the pigmentation is awful. I haven't had that issue. I actually really love this palette, and yeah, I highly recommend it if it's in stock. I have two other Violet Voss palettes other than the Flamingo. One of them is the Violet Voss Nicole Concilio collab palette. This is not my favorite of my Violet Voss palettes. This is one of those more neutral palettes that I've talked about. It has some beautiful golds. It's got this blue. All of their palettes seem to have a black. I'm not sure why. But it has all of these neutrally browns and things in it, which is one of the reasons why it's actually a decent palette for me to hang on to. However, I have found that from this one, that the pigmentation doesn't tend to be as good as it was with, say, the Flamingo or the other palette I have, which is the Pro eyeshadow palette. Some of these are really good, but others just, I don't know. These are some of the better ones, and as you can see, even on this one, a glitter doesn't really show up that well. But the mattes are good. It's really good for having some neutral mattes around in my collection. But it's not my favorite out of my Violet Voss. I'm keeping it. I intend to keep it. Like I said, you need to have some neutrals in your collection, right? So that's that one. And then the other one I have is the Pro Eyeshadow Hashtag palette. I love this palette. This was my first Violet Voss. Look at these colors. Just gorgeous. This is beautiful. This is the purple palette for me. I love this palette. I adore this palette. I missed a finger. Get one of the blacks. It has beautiful pigmentation. The colors are beautiful. I have never had a problem with this on my eyes. I absolutely adore this palette. Adore it. Adore it. Adore it. Highly recommend it if you're looking for a Violet Voss palette to start with, and you do not mind starting off with the purples and golds and bronzes in there. It's I mean, seriously. Look at those colors. Look at those colors. Gorgeous. It's a gorgeous palette. This is the one that got me hooked on Violet Voss. I will tell you that. You know, you have that one palette that gets you hooked on a particular brand, and I have one in here that got me hooked on Urban Decay, and I'm really disappointed with the direction that Urban Decay has gone since. But that one palette is still a favorite palette of mine. So this is the palette that started my love affair with Urban Decay. This is the Urban Spectrum palette. This is several years old, and I really should be using it. I don't use it much. I didn't use it much when I first purchased it either, because I was like, that's an expensive palette and it's a beautiful palette and I don't want to run out of the colors, and I don't want to, but I really need to use it because now it's to the point where it really needs to be used. But I love these colors. I really wish it hadn't been limited edition. I wish they had these colors out elsewhere. They are gorgeous. And I really honestly wish that they still did this quality consistently, but they don't, unfortunately. These are some beautiful colors. Again, this was when the pigmentation for Urban Decay was generally pretty good. As I said before, no primer. They do look much better on my eyes. Gorgeous colors. And I really do need to start using it before I need to throw it away. My intent is to keep the packaging even when I have to get rid of the rest of it. Another one from Urban Decay that I really like is this one. This is their, forgot what the name of it is. Lord, this was from Christmas last year. This was their Heavy Metals. Really. Give me a second here. I don't want to blind you guys. The people got really upset about the mirror being in the middle like that. I actually personally like it. If you watched my other video where I did my eyeshadow, you can see why. That gave me a mirror right there, and I did have used some of these to do my eyeliner with. And the only color in here that has been problematic for me, I can find her, is this one, Angel Fire. And a lot of people complained about Angel Fire. They said it was chunky and it had a lot of fallout, and they're right. It's the worst one in the palette. It really is. A lot of these neutrals don't really work for me because they're neutral and browns die on my skin, but the color side is just beautiful. I love these, and even some of the neutrals actually are fine. These are gorgeous. I'm grabbing across both. I love these. And you do get a beautiful high shine. And it's some of their better pigmentation. As I have to twist myself because I don't think about going further this way. but it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous palette. It is my holiday palette, I will admit. I tend to not use it for other times, and I just bought it, so it's reasonable that I can do that. I might actually put it on a project pan one day in the future, although I think we've discovered I'm not a very good project panner. The other thing that people got upset with was the packaging. What I have found is as long as you put it in correctly and snap that and don't shake it, it holds just fine. So I don't know what all the... I think the packaging is beautiful. Yes, it does hold fingerprints and stuff, but there's a lot of them that do that, so I don't see what the problem with that is. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I love this. I love this too. Next is the Tarte treasure box. This was their Christmas thing from last year, and it has more than just eyeshadows in it. It has bronzers, a highlighter, a blush. The bronzers and the blushes are the usual the usual Tarte quality. This highlighter is, it's pointless. I don't know. But this is the first palette that made me go, okay, maybe I can like a few mattes. You will notice that one of the pans is empty. I took that and I crushed it up and I use it for helping with concealing. It was the perfect color for that. But the mattes in here are beautiful, and this is one of the reasons why I was kind of upset too with Tarte over their Shape Tape foundation fiasco, and now they've expanded Amazonian clay, but not the Shape Tape foundation. I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway, one of the reasons I was upset because I'd found a company that had mattes that I really enjoyed. Now, this was before I started buying the Violet Voss, so I'm not that unhappy anymore. And Violet Voss actually has more colors, but you know, all of that came down, and I found a company that gave me mattes that actually worked on my face, and I decided I couldn't stick with them because of that. Let's get some of these beautiful matte colors that they have so you can see them, and let's grab a shimmery color. I think the pigmentation on this one is beautiful as well. It's not available. Obviously, it's been discontinued. Look at that black. Look at that black. That's as good or better than the ColourPop black. And like I said, no primer. So most of the stuff that I'm showing that's coming up patchy on my hand, it doesn't do that on my eyes at all. Maybe it's the Kryolan. I don't know. But as you can see, it's got some gorgeous colors in it. And so I was really, really unhappy with the company that, you know, hey, you finally gave me something that will give me mattes, and now I don't want to buy from you anymore because you're doing shit that indicates racist stuff. But anyway, moving on. A lot of people, again, on this one complained about the packaging. Yeah, it's kind of big and bulky. I keep it out. It doesn't actually go into my drawers. They complained about having the shadows and this stuff mixed. As long as you keep the little plastic thingy in there, that's not a problem. Again, I didn't get the complaints. I think the packaging is gorgeous. I think the palette itself was well worth the price. I ended up getting it on sale, and then I had another discount, and so I'm learning to be clever that way. Ooh, hey, I have this card for, you know, 20%, or actually it's usually not that high, but 20% off, and oh, that thing is on sale, and I've been wanting that thing. I will go and I will combine all this and get it for even cheaper. So I think my total, I had bought one or two other things with this, and I think my total cost when I came up with everything was what the base cost of this palette was at the time. So another palette. I am trying to pan this. The one that I took out doesn't count. Unless, of course, I finish it off. So, and last is another one that I'm not using a lot, but I actually still really love. And the reason I'm not using it is because in this case, it is so many colors. I used to have the BH120s, which are also amongst the best of their palettes, in my opinion, at least previous palettes. My understanding is some of the newer palettes are doing much better in terms of pigmentation. But what I found with the 120s is I just got overwhelmed. I have ADHD, and yeah, I'd get completely overwhelmed by the amount of colors to pick from. And I think that's part of my problem with this one, but I don't want to get rid of it because I absolutely adore this palette. And that's my Profusion Flawless Luxe Eye Palette case. I think they call them a case on there. And these colors are gorgeous. This one actually came with, I believe, several brushes, several eyeliner pencils. It has a mirror in here that I'm not going to lift up. It had a pencil sharpener and a few other things, but I bought it for these. These are gorgeous, and the pigmentation is good. There's I've not seen any kickback. I've had very little fallout. Like I said, the colors are beautiful. Even the browns and stuff look really good. For a company that is, I think this was like around $20, give or take. For a company that offers their stuff, and I did that way too far off, offers their stuff, that color should be coming up better than it is, but that's okay. But anyway, for a company that offers their colors, their smaller palettes from around $5 to $15, they have great pigmentation. The colors are beautiful, and yeah, it got me. I actually want to buy more from Profusion. I really do. Some gorgeous, gorgeous colors in there. So, and I suspect that they've got some new ones out that I want. They've got the Royals, and they've got just some gorgeous stuff that's come out recently that I want to get my hands on. But another company, this is a company I highly recommend, especially if you're looking for eyeshadows and makeup on a budget. The only thing that I would make you aware of is things like their bronzer pro case, their contour pro case like this. The stuff comes up a bit powdery. The blush that I got was a bit powdery, but they have pigmentation and they work, and as long as you're aware of those things, you can work around them. I think they're worth the cost of $5, honestly, $5 to $10. So, and this will not be the last time you see Profusion in this little series, but this is the last one I have from my big palettes. So yeah, that is my larger palettes, larger to medium, and that's it for today. The next one that's going to go up, this one should go up on the Monday, last Monday, the Monday that con ends, and my next one should go up on Wednesday after con, and the last one in this series should go up Friday after con. So yeah, we are, other than that little bit of information about what's coming up next and when, that's it for today, and I hope you like what you've seen. And if you're not a subscriber yet, I hope you will subscribe. If you do subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when I upload. And if you don't subscribe, which would make me very sad, but I would understand because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But if you don't subscribe, I do hope you will come by again one day. And when you do, don't forget to bring your cup of tea. That's so good. You guys are going to get so tired of this cup by the end of the week. You have a good day.